What's up everybody? Today I'm going to tell you how to backside 180, but this time it's going to be in first person. So all you need to know before this trick, like the frontside 180, is just an ollie. And also just be comfortable riding away switch or pivoting off the nose. So if you look at this, I'm going to be rolling forward, right? And off the nose, I'm going to pivot like I would for a backside 180. So like this. So I can keep rolling switch. All right, so going into common mistake number one is that just like the front side 180, a lot of people have trouble, keeping rolling away switch. That grammar was probably really bad. But sometimes you may be trying the backside 180 and you can go like this. You can't just keep rolling in this direction. And this goes back to the first tip that I was mentioning of learning how to kick turn off the nose. So that may be happening because you're trying to, kick turn in a way or put weight over your back foot more. So if you look at this, if I put too much weight on my back foot and almost like try to pivot off it, it's really hard to like focus on keep rolling away switch. Also, you can look at it as I'm like pivoting off the nose. So if I turn this way, like the proper way, I can keep rolling, right? Now if I try that again while rolling forward, if I try to pivot off the back truck, I'm gonna go in the other direction or stop. So if you look closely, it's not anything too drastic, but I'm putting most of my weight over my front foot. So look at this as I pivot over. It's landing on the front set of wheels first before I put my back foot down. So you don't really have to pivot like too heavy. The main thing is just knowing you have to put weight over your front foot a lot during this trick. Don't lean too far back towards the tail. So another tip for rolling away switch while keeping that in mind is that, during the first half of this trick, you want to be leaning over your front foot in the nose, but then during the second half of the trick, you want to shift your weight back to your back foot and the tail. Because what can happen if you just lean completely over the nose, you're just going to slip out and almost face plant sometimes. Like, right, you sound like I'm nose diving. But if I think of it as leaning over the front truck first and then switching my weight towards the back truck or like the back of the board, then it'll help you kind of shift that weight more so you can roll away switch. So lean over the front side and then shift my weight backwards towards here. So I think that's one of the most important things. You don't even really have to pivot, but really just try to get, your front truck down first. So you can practice this just doing a normal ollie, but just slam your front foot down first. So just get used to that, but just do it while you're turning your shoulders. So again, I'm laying on my front truck first. It may not be easy like that. It took a lot of time for me to learn how to pivot, but generically you just want to make sure you're landing on your front truck first and putting the weight over your front foot. And then you kind of shift your way back towards the tail. And wow, my trucks are loose. All right, so the next common mistake is that you may not be turning your shoulders enough. So maybe you think you're turning your shoulders enough, but you're only doing 90 degrees or less. Right, you can't just like keep rolling. You can just do partial of the 180. My grammar is really horrible right now. Part of the 180. So for this, you just really have to make sure you're winding up your shoulders and not only turning your waist during this trick. The main thing is your shoulders, because as you turn your shoulders, your waist and hips are gonna follow. But if you only use your waist and hips and your shoulders don't follow, it's kind of just awkward. So really make sure as you're doing this trick, you kind of wind up getting ready for the 180 and then you just really throw your shoulders into it so that you can get on it. Also, a really helpful tip for this is really just throwing your head into the trick in the same direction, and that'll help to get your shoulders to follow. So also, maybe you feel like you're throwing your shoulders enough, but you're not being able to do it. I'm basically repeating myself like the front side 180 video. Overcompensate in a way, because really, if you're not getting the full rotation, it's because you're not turning your shoulders enough. So again, like maybe try to act like you're going for a 360, just really throw your shoulders into it really hard, and try to get that rotation. I can't backside 180 right now. All right, right here. So again, just reiterating, really make sure you throw your head and shoulders into this trick. I think that's one of the most important things for any type of 180. All right, so the last common mistake is that the board may not be sticking to your feet or maybe flying away from you. Most common one, I think, is people lean over their toes too much like this and jump in front of the board. Or sometimes you may actually go behind the board or like only your toes land on it like this. I can't really do that because actually like that's the harder one, but most people would just like, kind of jump too far in front of the board. So like I mentioned in the front side 180 video, I think this comes down to foot position and posture. So if you're like kind of jumping too far over the board, it might be because your toes might be like too far over, and that's what's causing you to just jump too far forward. So maybe like scoot your toes back so that you're able to keep them over the board more as you're doing this. If you end up jumping too far forward, or vice versa, if you're like kind of landing like on with your toes like this, put your front foot or just your feet in general more over the board so that it doesn't go too far back. So now basically the same kind of concept, but now with your posture. So, you know, if you're leaning or jumping too far in front of your toes, try to lean more back towards your heels and like just stand straight up as you do this trick. If you're kind of leaning too far back, or like, you know, you're landing here, try leaning over your toes more so you can actually jump more on the board. So really just kind of experiment and like see what works best. So like I'm gonna get a backside 180 like this. Easier said than done, but really all those tips are going to help you get a better backside 180. So now let me show you some slow-mo clips so you can really analyze the backside 180. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for the backside 180. The key tips really to take away from this is really just make sure you turn your shoulders and your head in that direction so you can actually get the full 180. And then try to land on your front chuck first so you can either pivot or just have that posture to be able to keep rolling away a switch. And it doesn't have to be an extreme pivot like this. If you keep that same concept in mind of just the weight distribution, you can actually do a full 180 like this. Not like that. It's always when I put myself on the spot, but basically like this. Like you can do a whole 180 like that too. Just really make sure you kind of lean over the nose first and then shift your weight to the tail. Otherwise than that, if you have any questions about the backside 180, just leave that down in the comment section below. Really just make sure you keep these tips in mind. It takes some time practice, so don't get too frustrated. Otherwise than that, just make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications too. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.